Don't ever fall in love, okay?
Welcome to Davey Dave's Take. Today we are talking about Love Lies Bleeding, the new film starring Kristen Stewart. Gym manager Lou falls for Jackie, a bodybuilder who is passing through town en route to a competition in Las Vegas. Honestly, didn't know much about this film. I saw Rose Glass was directing it, and she directed Saint Maud, which is a very underrated horror movie. You should check that out if you haven't seen it. But I was excited because I love going into a movie knowing nothing about it, not even watching a trailer, and just being surprised. And that's what I can say about Love Lies Bleeding. It is full of surprises. I had a good time, and I thought this was one of the more interesting films to come out this year so far. I first got to compliment the directing here because Rose Glass makes a lot of choices that are extremely bold, and I give her a lot of props for doing it. For the most part, those moments and those choices really work because they stick out. It makes the film stick with you after you watch it. And it's not just the bold choices that I liked about her directing. I liked how it was shot. It was very colorful, it looked very beautiful. I thought all of that was done really well. And I like how when the second act starts, there's this feeling of suspense throughout the rest of the film. There's something that happens that really sets the plot in motion, and for the rest of the film, you just feel like you're on edge. And it's not just the plot that keeps you on edge. The film does a good job of showing this body imagery that grosses you out, that also keeps you on edge, but it's very effective. You get this really uncomfortable feeling, but that's the point, and I feel like the film really nailed that aspect. I also really like the performances here. Kristen Stewart was great, but the best performance in this film was Katy O'Brien. There's this level of physicality that Katy O'Brien had to bring to this role that was probably very difficult to pull off, but she absolutely does. It was also nice to see Ed Harris. He was pretty much just playing Ed Harris, but I thought he did a great job, and he had some fucking crazy hair. But overall, I thought this was a unique and interesting experience, but I didn't think the film was perfect. It definitely has some issues. I guess my biggest problem with this film is it tries to balance feeling really grounded in reality, but then at the same time, not trying to do that at all. And that's where I go back and say most of the choices in this film work, but there are some that don't work because they come off as comical. And look, there are parts of this film that are absolutely supposed to be funny in that dark comedic type of way, and those parts really work. But I'm talking about the parts where this film is supposed to be somewhat grounded in reality, but some things happen that come off as completely unbelievable. Like, it's established early on that the FBI is pretty much everywhere, but things happen throughout the film where I'm just like, is the FBI actually here, or are they just fucking dumb? And like I said before, there are definitely parts of this film that are trying to be funny and ridiculous, but I feel like the film has problems trying to strike that balance and tone. And there were parts towards the end of the film when it came to character choices that I just didn't believe. I'm like, no way. There's no way that person would do that. But overall, I did enjoy this film. I felt like I was interested for most of the time. I like the character connections here. I feel like Rose Glass had some choices here that felt really bold, and most of them really worked out. There were some bloody moments in the last 2/3 of the movie. I felt like I was on edge for most of that time. I just feel like it had problems trying to nail that tone it was going for, and there are things that happened that felt completely unbelievable. But overall, I thought this was a pretty solid film. I'm gonna give Love Lies Bleeding 7 Davey Daves. The one thing I can take away from this film is I'm never gonna do steroids, and I still fucking hate needles. So, Love Lies Bleeding. Let me know what you guys thought of it once you've seen it. I'm curious to hear, and thank you so much for watching. Click here to see more of Davey Dave's Takes.